This is Faded. And Faded might not be a very high rank.
Please give it to me.
But he has made a bet that he would be immortal by the end of the year. So, to help him, he's invited me to coach him. Something I want to make clear is that I don't think I know everything. The goal of this video is to help out Faded, and also to show everyone else that there's always room for improvement. That's why I'm asking you guys to please tell me if I said something wrong. Right now, Faded has just ranked up to Silver 1, and his goal is to get Gold soon. Since I've watched some of his games already, I know the mistakes he makes. One of his biggest mistakes is overconfidence, which is pretty common for that rank. Aside from that, I think he bosses his team around too much. What he should aim to do is play around the team instead of telling them what to do. And then the last thing, which is something I'm gonna drill into his head. Crosshair placement. This is Faded's first FPS game, so he needs to understand how important it is for him to do crosshair placement right. I'm gonna go into detail about every single one of these things with him and eventually make it more comprehensive in this video. So the first thing me and Faded did was hop into a custom so I could explain some of the things he was doing wrong.
How does it feel to be in front of the most viewers you've been in front of for years?
Dude, what the fuck? You know, there's a few things I want to talk about. So, obviously you have your ego, right? Every single time someone is in a clutch, you tell them what to do. Exactly what you want them to do. But guess what? They're their own person. So next time someone is in a clutch, instead of saying what to do, stay silent. Because people play at their best when they're not forced into doing something they don't want to do. So, what I just mentioned there is called backseat gaming. It's a very common thing in lower ranks. And there's a reason why it is less common in higher ranks, and that's for one reason and one reason alone. It's the thing that I just now said to Faded. It's that people are more comfortable playing their own game. So for example, someone has the bomb in a 1v4 and they decide to go short. Then someone says, hey man, why didn't you go long? Long would have been better in that situation, because for example, there could have been a guy there and this wasn't cleared, but long was. That person is gonna go walk back and go into this position where he didn't initially want to go, and his plan, the plan that he had, is now ruined. This is not the way he was gonna play this clutch. He's not comfortable in the situation where he's sitting right here and he has to peek this angle, for example. Maybe he never goes long. And then you have just told them that, well, you have to go long, otherwise you're gonna lose the clutch. And that's just not true. Why do you backseat game? It's because you want to have more control over the round, because you've died. And that makes total sense, right? Because you feel powerless at that point. You can't do anything about the round. And maybe that's for the better sometimes. Maybe you have to let your teammates do their thing. Because just sitting there telling everyone what to do will get on your team's nerves, and you'll get on your own nerves eventually. And one thing that's most important in Valorant is that you keep your team happy.
So basically, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Another thing I discussed with Faded is that he needs to practice his movement. In this situation, I mean just stopping shooting, stopping shooting, stopping shooting, stopping shooting, stopping shooting, and then just eventually going to this speed. And every time you're inaccurate, you stop, and you start again. That way, you practice your movement, and you get used to stopping and shooting like this. Especially for bronzes who don't have that muscle memory down yet, it is very important to just get in there so you can just be able to pre-fire very nicely. And then we went from practicing the shots with movement to what is one of the most hard things to master in this video game. It is crosshair placement, because, you know, as I said early on, I'm gonna drill this into this man's forehead. It is one of the most important things in this game. A lot of people in lower ranks don't understand why it's necessary that you have to aim there instead of aiming like here. It is minimizing the chances of you losing the fight. That's taking duels in this game. All you have to do is maximize the chance that you're going to win the fight, whether that's through good crosshair placement, outplaying them, or taking an off angle, or any other things that are similar to that. So that's why you're aiming as close to the angle as possible, because, well, that's where they're gonna peak. So that's what I explained to Faded.
You ready to get one tapped?
Do you actually want to fight me?
No!
Someone's peeking on long. All you have to do is position your crosshair so when you peek, you are already on the angle the person's gonna peek from.
So instead of having to go like up, I just go move over and just instantly one tap.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna be here, peeking this, and then you need to shoot me as fast as you can.
Like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. Something I touched on briefly too was teamwork. Because that's very hard in the ranks that he is in now, right? Silver, it's pretty much known for having zero teamwork. But there's a loophole for that. Because, you know, your team might not be working with you, but that doesn't mean that you can't work with your team. So, you know, I'm someone's teammate, and I'm running down short, and I'm gonna peek this, and I've taken long, or I've taken short control right now. Then, imagine you are on long. You wait for this guy to push out, and as you see that he is walking up on the map right here, you start peeking too, and you go in, and then you flash back sight, and you clear these corners, and you walk out together. That's basically what this is, because maybe your team doesn't want to work together, and as I said earlier, they work best when they're not told what to do. So what if you start doing what you're supposed to do, and your teammate doesn't have to change anything? That's gonna once again maximizes the chances you win the round because you are playing together, but your teammate doesn't have to change up the way he is playing. You don't have to say anything to him, and you're just watching the map, seeing where he is going, and once he goes out, you go out with him, boom, you flash, and you peek together. That's what's important, peeking together, because there might be one guy in this corner, he peeks out, and then you peek out with him, and then you can't lose that fight. The most you're gonna lose is one person. Well, unless they're 10s, but then they're smurfing. So, what I'm getting at is that you cannot blame your team for losing a round when you can be the person that makes the teamwork happen. When there is someone here holding plat here, there's someone here holding this, and you are his teammate. It is important that you factor in that he's already there, so that you position yourself somewhere where you can help him. Because they don't understand how teamwork works, but you can. So you can change the fact that there's no teamwork by being near your teammates. Does that make sense?
So instead of stacking, play a different angle.
Uh,
Support them.
Yeah, an angle that you can help them from. So if someone's playing back here, for example, you could go back here. If he's being shot, you peek out and kill the guys from the back. After we did our coaching session, I watched him play a game live to give some input on what he's doing wrong. And I'll just be honest here, watching a Silver play is not that interesting. So I won't show a lot of that footage. I will take the opportunity to expand on teamwork. I picked out a round that show what went wrong in the team and what Faded could have done about it. Essentially showing you guys how to be the glue that keeps the team together. Before I play these clips, I want to ask you guys to please join my Discord. My goal this year is to try and grow a community, and the first step is to get people to be a part of it. So, if you want to help me, please join the Discord. And while you're at it, check out Faded's Twitch so you can follow his progress. In the clip, Faded says this.
Someone watch flank.
And then he decides to hold that flank himself. But, look at what happens to the team. They split up. Sage walks back to start holding flank. Then they decide to stop holding flank because he already sees two people there. Faded holds the flank with Chamber, and the rest pushed up. He calmed something that made the team split up, and that's why they lost the round. So, what you can take away from this is that it's good for someone to hold the flank, but if you do it yourself, don't call out that someone should. And that's everything for today, so I hope you enjoyed. In the future, I'm gonna try and do challenges instead of playing the game normally or playing Stinger only, because just sticking to Stinger only is very hard for me. So in the new act, I'm gonna start things off by playing with inverted sensitivity. So I hope you stick around to watch that. Goodbye.